right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa, and I work for a nonprofit called Reflo in Milwaukee. As I'm sharing my screen, I'm going to try and get this going. We are a small environmental nonprofit in Milwaukee, and we really serve southeastern Wisconsin. Let me make sure this is up. Good. Awesome. Okay, so Reflo is a small environmental nonprofit in Milwaukee. We have 5 different program areas that focus on sustainable water use, education, and community engagement. I'm going to spend most of my time talking today about green and healthy schools, but you can find out a lot more about these different program areas, including our environmental internships for young adults, on our webpage. And some of this will come up kind of as we go through. We are a very small and mighty team. We have just about 10 folks on staff that are working in the community on these different projects. We have environmental engineers, we have environmental educators like myself and others, we have storytellers, and we're all advocates for the environment in the community in which we serve. So all of our staff live in Milwaukee. Most of us have grown up in Milwaukee, and so all of the on-the-ground work that we're doing really hits close to home for us. And we're often working in schools and communities that we either live in or have gone to school in or have family members and friends who have been alumni from those areas, which is a really awesome way to connect with the community. At this moment, we have over 40 Milwaukee public schools that are part of the Green and Healthy Schools program, where we're working to redevelop their schoolyards into greener, healthier spaces. And we support many other schools outside of MPS and within the district with lots of different resources that we can share today. So our main focus on Milwaukee has to do with this top picture in the left. In urban settings, too many schoolyards look like this, where we have these really vast areas of asphalt that are pretty gray and fairly uninspiring and don't really offer kids or community members a lot of options for play or connection to nature or really much of anything to do. And so with that expansive asphalt comes tremendous opportunity. And we have been working with Milwaukee Public Schools and many project partners for about a decade in transforming those spaces into things that you see more like this top right-hand photo. So this redevelopment that's showcased here is really highlighting the multi-use and multi-purposeness of the projects that we support. We are always leading with green infrastructure and finding ways that we can add more nature, use that green infrastructure to help clean water and protect our environment, as well as reduce flooding in urban environments, but also pair in, recreation with walking paths through, opportunities for maintenance and stewardship by learning the different plants that grow in Wisconsin, as well as having other strong curricular connections, and then a sense of calm and social emotional wellness by being near nature on a schoolyard. And then we often pair things like outdoor classrooms and different gathering spaces near those, so we can use them for lots of different purposes on a smaller, expansive land. When we work on these community projects, stakeholder feedback is super important. So we meet with members of the community in the school and surrounding neighborhood and partners to get ideas from all levels, from students all the way up through staff, neighbors, and partners to really inform the work that we're doing. And then a really strong piece of this puzzle is also sharing and providing a network of folks so they can feel connected to one another. And so Reflo helps manage the Green Schools Consortium of Milwaukee, which is a group of about 1,500 individuals and organizations in southeastern Wisconsin that's really coming together to share those resources. We have an annual conference every August and have a space to network and support each other and inspire each other throughout the year. Milwaukee has tremendous opportunity when we look at the number of schools that are in this area, which is another reason why we focus our work here in southeastern Wisconsin. So this map shows many varieties of schools and hundreds of them. And then this one is overlaying the area deprivation index, which looks at a combination of socioeconomic disadvantaged numbers as well as income, education, and then housing equity in Milwaukee. And so the darker red that you see in the center of the Milwaukee County outline represents the areas of highest need, and the green dots are the schools that we have been supporting. And so there's a lot of correlation of where the work is being done in our community to best serve the needs of our community. And what's really awesome in Milwaukee is public schoolyards are actually open to the public out of school time hours. So we're helping to create these spaces not only for the school community, but also for the neighborhood that often function like a park space in areas of our city that may not have accessible green space. And so we're creating these experiences for all folks to use. When a school's interested in going through the redevelopment process, there is an application process where schools opt in to apply for this consideration. The whole process is based on need and enthusiasm. So we want schools to want to be part of this and to understand the journey they're about to begin if they are selected. We support them through that application process. It's a pretty straightforward Google form. If they're selected to present, we help coach folks to present their need and enthusiasm at a large selection meeting every November. We invite about 100 folks from the community and other organizations that are interested in supporting green and healthy schools, and we hear their stories. Everyone in that room gets an equitable vote. They choose their top 5 of the 10 schools that present, and then the 5 that receive the most votes are selected by the community are the ones that move forward. And then they start their journey to plan, fundraise, and go through this entire timeline that you see. It is a pretty extensive, multi-phase, multi-year process. We spend a whole year going through the conceptual planning process where we meet with green teams every month to get feedback from all those different stakeholders to really refine the plan. It gives us the foundation and a common vision so we can raise dollars and fundraise for at least a whole calendar year after that, which then sets us up for detailed design and permitting. The school district does all of the hiring of contractors and the designers who are put onto these projects. And Reflo's role is really to be the liaison and the supporting organization to help fill in the gaps and connect with the school community. We're always working with multiple departments within the school district to make sure that facilities knows what's going on, that curriculum instruction is connected, that grants are working on these different projects together. And we kind of work as a whole machine and cohesive team to move from concept through fundraising and then into construction. Construction happens in a super tight 10-week window of summer. We're always aiming to reduce the impact that construction has on student learning and their time outdoors. So we try to pack it into that summertime. And then after the 3rd year, once construction is complete, schools enter into maintenance and stewardship. And so while we don't necessarily meet with them every month anymore, we maintain that really strong relationship that we've built over the years. We continue to be a resource and to be a partner in the different endeavors that schools are looking to do. And because we all ultimately want to see those schoolyards used and be activated and have a really strong connection for students in the community who are using those spaces. Green infrastructure is a core to these projects. So whenever we are working on a schoolyard, we pay close attention to where water is flowing and where opportunities are to help put in some more nature-based systems to help collect that water and clean that water on the grounds. What that helps us do is create these really beautiful spaces that we can use for curriculum and for those calm down spaces and other opportunities, but it also ultimately helps us slow down water in our neighborhoods, clean that water, and reduce flooding that may impact people's homes, and ultimately help keep our rivers and our lakes cleaner. Green infrastructure can take lots of different forms. We often are removing a lot of the asphalt on a schoolyard, not all pieces of it, because they do play a really important role in some applications and for different sports and for pathways, but we remove a lot of the hardscape. And then based on the interest of the school and what the site conditions are, we can install lots of different types of green infrastructure, from large storage containers that would go underground, like an underground cistern, different native prairies and planted areas and bioswales. And then we often will actually put porous ground cover, like a synthetic turf field, above an underground cistern, so we can use those space for multiple purposes and ultimately help to capture and clean the water. Sometimes one thing I really love to do is combine the multi-use spaces. So we have a bioswale here located right next to an outdoor classroom area, so we can use that for inspiration in a calmer setting, and then incorporate different grass and natural areas with different plant species. And then if a school is really interested in gardening, we listen to those interests and come up with ways that we can help support the irrigation through an above ground cistern and those sorts of things. So what we're going to see now are some examples of the before and the after of schools that we've supported. To date, we have 29 completed projects in Milwaukee Public Schools and others that are in different phases of the pipeline. This is Longfellow School, which was one school in the very first cohort that went into construction in 2019. So through that feedback cycle and all of the work that the school community helped support, this was the transformation at their schoolyard. The synthetic turf field was a major element that folks wanted. And so beneath this, which gets active use every single day, is an underground cistern for that additional storage. There's outdoor classroom spaces, different planted areas and bioswales. And then, looking from where these projects began and the evolution of where they are now, there are definitely things that we are advocating for more strongly, like adding additional trees. So this school, we actually have plans to go back and implement more tree planting to help boost the number of trees that are on site and ultimately provide more shade in time, more urban habitat, more pollinator support for different species, and then ultimately help reduce the impacts of these hot weather days and the effects of climate change. This example is from Bayview Montessori, which is in the Bayview neighborhood of Milwaukee. This Montessori school had a really strong focus on outdoor learning. And so they're not all seen in this image, but they actually have 4 outdoor classroom spaces, each with a different focus. So they can have multiple classrooms of students outside at a time. The kids can use these different things during recess for creative and dramatic play. They can use the amphitheater space for, community events or school-wide like celebrations, different play elements, and lots of different nature elements that are integrated as well for multi-use. This is Niscara Elementary on Milwaukee's west side, a very big, expansive asphalt playground. When through transformation was able to have really large bioswale and nature area added, new play structures, amphitheater space, and then this island, which is a feature we like a lot because you can have folks moving in and out of these spaces and around them and really create this community feel as people are using the different elements on the schoolyard. This is Kluge. That was that really vast asphalt image we started our presentation with. This went through construction a couple of years ago and is on the northwest side of Milwaukee. And the transformation is phenomenal at Kluge. That's about 2 city blocks worth of asphalt on that project that we were able to work with community to come up with another design. Lots of bioswales to manage stormwater on this site. Where they're located in the city of Milwaukee, bioswales are really important to help improve the water quality before it enters back into our waterways. And so you see really large bioswales and expanses of native planting on this school site in addition to those other features because of that. Last summer, we celebrated cohort 6 projects. This is Forest Home Avenue on the south side of Milwaukee. That area of our city is really densely populated. Houses are really close together and green space is at a premium. And so creating green space at Forest Home was really important for the community and the school. And the principal always said they wanted to bring the forest to Forest Home. And so a great thing we were able able to implement on this school. All these little white features here are actually trees with tree protection to keep them safe as they grow and establish. But we also, for the first time, planted a microforest on a schoolyard. So we're introducing new habitat, new different succession plans, so kids and teachers can study that outside on their schoolyard and see how these things evolve and change over time and have this really awesome living schoolyard right outside their door. Again, soccer, huge piece of the puzzle. So we're always thinking about those different recreation needs in combination of the environment, those social components, and ultimately social emotional health as well. And then lastly, this is our biggest project to date. This is a combined school project. Up at the top of the screen is Milwaukee Sign Language School, and then connected by a corridor is Morris Middle School. Both of these schoolyards are connected. Before construction, you can see this wall. This was a terraced area where there was like ups and downs and just complete open asphalt area. This field was in poor condition. It was really unlevel. There were lots of things that needed improvement. And by working together last summer, that is the impact of that project. So really beautiful pathways, connecting the schools, letting them feel like they can use both sides of the schoolyard as opposed to feeling disconnected from one another, welcoming in the community to use those spaces for walking and exercise and all of the things that go along with it. We always celebrate our schools. Each October, we have a ribbon cutting celebration for those schools that just completed construction. We really try to elevate the voice at each of the schools that are being represented. We love to have students engage and talk about what this means to them. And then we celebrate with a ribbon cutting. This one was actually from Hawthorne School, where we have lots of dignitaries and folks and supporters who are there to really show up for their school and for their community. Through these projects, we've raised over $28 million, and lots of asphalt has been removed, about 15 football fields from our schools in Milwaukee. We're managing 3 million plus gallons of stormwater every time it rains, which is a huge accomplishment. We've planted nearly 4,000 trees and have so much native habitat restored in Milwaukee, and they're in spaces that are accessible to kids and to families and to our community. All of these impacts are really starting to grow a culture throughout our school system, throughout our city, where folks are starting to go from one school to another and recognize these features and learn more and understand more about green infrastructure and those types of things than we saw a decade ago. All of this work wouldn't be possible without our partners. So I give a shout out to all of the folks who have been supporting these projects along the way. Without their work, we would not have as much transformation in Milwaukee as we do now. Our work doesn't end once those construction projects are completed. We have an environmental education program where we work and connect back with schools. We want to help advocate for environmental education. We want folks to feel comfortable using their green spaces. And so we often will do programming at schools or out in the community and host field trips. And I love to do that in all seasons to help folks understand or feel comfortable doing that in their own spaces. We often will think about how we can use these multi-purpose spaces for learning, for play, and for maintenance and stewardship of our schoolyards. And then our organization also builds outdoor discovery carts to help support schools using their outdoor spaces. So they're an outdoor mobile cart that has a bunch of different materials that folks can take and wheel outside when they're going to take their class outside, so they have the things they need for teaching. And now we get to Hawthorne Elementary, which is the school Miss Christina is from. Their school community has been wonderful to work with. Prior to construction, so much asphalt, these tiny little cutouts of green space, and so much opportunity. What was awesome about working with Hawthorne is their approach to this project was to engage the entire school community. Their entire green team was their staff. So no matter what grade you taught or what role you played, everyone knew what was going on and had an equal seat at that table, and then has translated into phenomenal use and engagement of their green schoolyard. So going through this process, we've developed a really strong relationship with this school. We have felt supported. We've had so many opportunities to come to Hawthorne and help highlight the awesome things that they have, to do some model teaching, to test some different design features on their schoolyard that other schools don't have, so we can see how they work and kind of pilot test those things together. Reflow's interns in the summer come and help take care of this space and others in our school community, and provide some of that maintenance and stewardship over the summer season when teachers are not in session. And then we've been able to collectively celebrate their space together. A couple years ago, the Hawthorne team won several awards, voted on by their peers at one of the annual Green and Healthy Schools conferences. We've been able to host lots of different tours and experiences at Hawthorne. They've been very gracious hosts, including helping us share their story with folks from the Children in Nature Network, and folks from other states across the nation, and then give really awesome learning opportunities for students that we support through the Environmental Youth Collaborative and different internships in Milwaukee. So we have been very blessed to work with Hawthorne and have that really wonderful relationship. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Christina so she can share how the school is using those spaces now.
Hello, everyone. I'll share my screen. And my name is Miss Christina Hill. I'm a teacher, a second and third grade teacher at Hawthorne Elementary. And I'll be talking about how we incorporate these themes at our school. So in our green space, our students have more room to explore, play, and just enjoy being outside. There's a revamped tot lot, grassy hills, perfect for rolling down, a space for football and soccer, which is very popular, a track for those who just want to take a walk, and native prairie plants for students to explore. Before, there was just a plain concrete slab with not much to do. Now, with so many different spaces and activities, our students are more engaged. Teachers are using the space for outdoor learning and quick brain breaks. For example, one of our teachers, she puts on an end of year play, Elephant and Piggy. And last year and the year before, we were able to use the theater area, which really enhanced their showcase. Our kindergarten classes, they like to use the field as a mock pumpkin patch. And the kids just love the spinner on the tot lot. And here's a picture of the kids doing an outdoor art activity. On Friday afternoons, the whole school participates in a program called Genius Hour. So all the teachers in the school lead clubs based on a variety of interests. For example, cup stacking, collage making, STEM challenges, there's anime club, science, and coding. This year, I'm leading the birding club, and we've been using the outdoor space for our bird walks and bird feeder stations. The students love using their binoculars to identify the birds in our backyard. Can you all see the screen okay? Okay, perfect. Our after-school clubs like soccer, football, Girls on the Run, and Green Team actively utilize the space for their programs as well. And when the weather cooperates, we take full advantage of the space with events like open house, fall fest, and school celebrations. It's really become a true gathering space for our school community. Hawthorne's Green Team Club is a group of students from first through fifth grade who basically take care of the school's outdoor green space. We meet once a week on Thursdays after school. The club works on fun projects like gardening and birding. We explore a variety of science topics based on their interests. And recently we studied snowflakes and the students created animal habitat dioramas. But the club's two major initiatives are collecting trash and running our school's recycling program. We usually start our meetings with a trash cleanup, and the kids love it. We go out with our gloves and small buckets. Once we get outside, the kids are set loose to run free and collect as much trash as they can find. They have a great time, and there is never a complaint. The students love helping keep their green space clean and healthy. They really enjoy running back and forth, bringing their full buckets. We clean up the schoolyard and the front of the building. And at the end, we usually have a very large bag of trash. The students always feel proud, and our principal gives us our club shout outs during morning announcements. And our school's engineer appreciates how we help make his job a little easier. Recycling is another program that the students have taken ownership of. This will be our second year implementing an all-school recycling at Hawthorne. Year one was a learning curve, but now we have a good system. We kicked off this year with a video to explain what recycling is and how Hawthorne will be recycling. We made sure to highlight common classroom items that love to find their way into the recycling bins, but shouldn't be there, like tissue and plastic wrappers. The classroom teachers assign students from their rooms to take the classroom's recycling down to the big hallway bins. And once or twice a week, Green Team Club members do another whole school classroom sweep and help dump the big recycling bins into the dumpster. So these are just screenshots of the video. If you would like to have a link to the video, I could definitely share that out. They worked on helping us with the script, and we shared it out at morning announcements. They felt like big stars of the school, and it really set the tone for recycling this year. Lastly, this is another activity the students pretty much run. They love collecting the bins, going into staff offices and asking, do you have any recycling today? They are advocates in their own classrooms, making sure their classmates are recycling, and they do not like it when things are sorted incorrectly. But I would say this year has been a huge improvement. Lastly, the Green and Healthy Schools Initiative has created exciting opportunities for our school to team up with science and environmental organizations. These partnerships have brought hands-on learning experiences, new projects, and real-world sustainability efforts for our students. It's given us the push and confidence to go for grants and programs that support environmental education. We've been partnering with local organizations like Reflo, Neighborhood House of Milwaukee, Linden Sculpture Garden, and Nearby Nature. Every year, we take on a new project, and this year we are working with Love My Air with the Children's Health Alliance of Milwaukee to study the air quality around our school. That's our board there, and we hang up flags in front of the school to show what flag we are for air quality. And with the support of Reflo, Green and Healthy Schools, and the backing of our administration, I do feel the teachers here at Hawthorne feel very confident to continue doing our part to create a greener school community. Thank you.